Hi everyone, welcome to tonight's Bible story. Tonight's story is the story of Esther. So, Esther was a beautiful young woman who lived with her uncle Mordecai, who was a Jew, and so was Esther. The king at the time was King Xerxes, and King Xerxes was super powerful and owned lots and lots of land, but he was looking for a new wife. So his officials thought it would be a really good idea to send out a message to his entire kingdom to send all the most beautiful women so that he could pick a new wife. Mordecai thought this would be a good idea to send Esther, so that's what he did. But he made sure that he told her to keep her secret that she was Jewish, because Jews weren't very well liked at that time. When Esther arrived at the palace, she was noticed straight away by the officials because she was so good looking. And they pampered her, they did her hair, her makeup, they gave her new clothes and made her feel really special and nice. Then, when she came in front of the king noticed how beautiful she was straight away, and he said, I pick her to be my next queen. She's gorgeous. So, Esther married the king, and I've got my veil from when I got married here. She became Queen Esther. Now, as I said before, the Queen Esther had an uncle called Mordecai who was a Jew. And Mordecai used to sit at the king's gate. Now, I've got this hat here for when I'm Mordecai, because I think this hat makes me look lovely. And Mordecai was a really lovely guy. He was super nice. So this hat makes me look nice like Mordecai. And Mordecai used to sit at the city gate. And one day he was sat there minding his own business when the king's right-hand man walked past. Now, the king's right-hand man wasn't very nice. His name was Haman. In fact, he wasn't very nice at all. He was horrible. He was evil, in fact. Some people would say he's a nasty, nasty man. Now, Haman thought he was pretty important to have got an important looking hat. And he also thought he was really cool. He thought he was a cool dude who was super important. But you know what? Nobody liked him. And he decided that everybody should have to bow down or kneel to him when he walked past. So he went to the king and he got that rule made so that everybody had to bow down or kneel when he walked past. But one day, as he walked past the king's gate and he saw Mordecai there, he noticed that Mordecai didn't bow down to him or kneel. And that made him really angry and a bit mad. So Haman stormed off towards the palace and spoke to the king, and he said, King Xerxes, did you know the Jewish people don't obey your rules and your law? You should have them killed. In fact, I'll pay for it. And King Xerxes said, it's your money, do what you like. So Haman, off he went, all happy with himself, and he organised for posters to go out amongst all the kingdom to explain that the Jews can be killed on this date and at this time. Isn't that terrible? Oh dear, what awful news. Haman wanted all the Jews dead, and he'd organised for them all to be killed. When Mordecai heard this news, he was so sad. He was distraught. He went out into the street crying. In fact, all the Jews were crying. They were upset they were going to be killed. You'd be devastated, wouldn't you? Anyway, Mordecai came to the city gate and he sent a message to Esther. And he said, Esther, please help us. Plead with the king to save our lives. We need you to do this. And Esther got back to him and said, I can't. There's a rule. If you go in front of the king without being invited, you will be killed. Oh my gosh. But Mordecai asked her again, please Esther, we need you to do this. Plead with the king for our lives. Maybe you were made queen for such a time as this. And Esther was really nervous and really, really scared, because she knew that by going in front of the king, she could lose her life. So what she did is she asked Mordecai and all the Jews to pray for her. There you go, I've got me Esther veil on. She asked them to pray for her and to fast for 3 days, and at the end of those 3 days, she'd do it. She'd be brave and she'd go in front of the king, no matter what. She said, if I die, I die. How brave is that? Anyway, 3 days of praying and fasting went, and she came to go in front of the king, and she arrived at where he was, and I can imagine she was shaking and really nervous. I would be, I'd be terrified. Anyway, she put her brave boots on and in she went, and she went up to where the king was. And when the king saw her and he looked up and locked eyes with her, he wasn't mad. He was so glad to see her. He was overjoyed. He said, Esther, come here. I'm so happy to see you. Isn't that lovely? Anyway, he said, what can I do for you, Esther? Anything at all. If you want half my kingdom, you can have it. Esther said, well, actually, can you and Haman come for dinner tomorrow night? And the king said, of course. Anyway, not cool and important feeling Haman, big-headed Haman, thought, I'm so important. How good's this? Not only am I going to get rid of the Jews, but I'm also going to have dinner with the queen and king. Aren't I awesome? And that night came, and Haman and the king, off they went for dinner with the queen. Now, when they got there, the king said to Esther, Esther, what is it? What do you want from me? Anything you want at all, it's yours. Just name it. So, Esther said, come again tomorrow night and I'll make another dinner. So, the next night, the king and Haman arrived. Haman thinking, isn't this awesome? 2 nights in a row with the queen. And Esther put this dinner on for them. And they all sat down again, and the king said to Esther, Esther, what is it that you want? Anything at all, entire kingdom. If you want half of it, it's yours. Just name it. So Esther said, well, actually, somebody's trying to take my life and my people's lives. They want to wipe us out and kill us. The king was furious. What could this be? Who would do such a thing? And Esther said, evil Haman. Uh-oh. Haman was scared. Oh, he wasn't such an important or cool dude anymore. He was shaking in his boots. He was so nervous. He thought, oh no. And rightly so. The king stormed out of the room in fury, and Haman begged Esther for forgiveness. But when the king came back and saw Haman talking to the queen, he was so furious. He sentenced Haman to death. So Haman was no more. Now, the king made another rule that the Jews could defend themselves. So the Jews were saved from what Haman had done. And he also made Mordecai his right-hand man. So he promoted him to a really important job. Now, what can we learn from the story of Esther? Esther had to be really brave in her situation. You might be scared of spiders or the dark or heights or something like that. But Esther had to be brave because she didn't know if she was going to live or die. Now, there's somebody that we also know who had to be even braver than Esther, and that's Jesus. Jesus had to be really brave. He knew that he had to die on a cross to save us from our sins. And I think that's amazing. How brave is Jesus? And we can all be like him too. And we can also ask Jesus to live in our hearts and make us brave. So that's the end of our story. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you tune in tomorrow for some more brave stories. Bye!